Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Goldberg. I'm the host of this podcast and the owner of Seacoast Threads. I'm normally interviewing local business owners, local people in town, stuff like that, talking about small businesses and the town of York and everything that goes along with it. Today, I'm here to do something just a little bit different. I want to talk about, kind of put my real estate cap on for a little bit here and kind of promote something that I'm very invested into and care a lot about in town. And that is young people and purchasing homes, especially in southern Maine. So a little background on me. I'm from York, was born and raised here, graduated in 2019 from York High School, played sports year-round. My family was all born and raised here also. When I graduated high school, I was kind of conflicted on what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to go to a four-year school. It wasn't really anything I was about, so I ended up going to community college. Worked for a hotel company doing marketing for several years, and I eventually got my real estate license about 2 years ago. And I've been doing that for the time being, and basically I've learned a few things along the way. And before I even got my real estate, back when I was about 19 years old, I purchased a house. And, that's kind of a weird thing to say as a 19, 20-year-old that you purchased a house, but I had a situation that I made work for me, and I think it can be replicated to other young home buyers in their mid to late 20s and stuff like that. Everyone thinks it's very difficult and impossible to buy houses nowadays, especially as a young person, but I am kind of here to prove that it's not entirely impossible, and it's definitely possible for anyone to, get on the path to purchase a house or already purchase a house. So basically, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch-style home. It's a newer build, and I have an apartment in the basement that's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. I have purchased it all together for $407,000 back in the spring of 2021. So I was just approached 20 years old when I bought it, and basically, I had to go out, get a mortgage. So I'd apply for a mortgage through a local bank, and when you apply for a mortgage, they're going to tell you kind of how much you can afford to buy, what your payment might look like if you're able to buy this. And I had, at the time, I had to have my dad co-sign the loan to be able to qualify for the mortgage. But basically, it was a purchase price of $407,500. I brought to closing a check for $19,573. So the total cash that I had to put up to get this mortgage was about $19,000, almost 20 grand. So that covers basically a little bit of my down payment, some of my closing costs, stuff like that, taxes, transfer tax, all those things. So to get that loan, I had to bring that amount of money there. And my starting mortgage payment was $2,149 a month, and that includes what's called an escrow amount, which is your property taxes and your insurance. The bank pays them for you, and they just charge them included in your mortgage. And that's obviously a 3.5% interest rate, which at the time was what kind of average was back then in 2021. Rates are pretty low. That they've gone up since then. And basically, I, on my salary back then and what I was making, I don't think I'd be able to afford $2,149 a month, basically. And I don't think a lot of 20-year-olds could afford that or can afford that even in your mid to late 20s. So how I make this work for myself is I purchase this home and I rent out 2 bedrooms. I have a 3-bedroom home, so I live in 1 bedroom, the master bedroom, and I rented out 2 of the bedrooms to my buddies. I've made about $700 a month each off of those, so it totaled up to $1,400. And then I had the 1-bedroom apartment in the basement that I rent out year-round for $1,600 a month. So I take in about $3,000 a month in income off the property. And that covers my mortgage, and then it also covers my expenses. So my internet is $50 a month, electric is $250 a month, and my fuel to fill the propane tanks around $100 a month. So all in all, total expense in the house are around $2,500, and I take in about $3,000. So I'm making a little bit of money off the top there. So I live for free, and I'm currently building equity in this home. Just to give you an example of equity, Basically, it's the difference between what you purchased the property for and what it is worth now. So I purchased the property for $407,500. The town evaluates it at $615,000 currently. That's what they tax me on for evaluation. What it's probably worth in the open market, in today's market, is closer to $700,000. So we can kind of say that we have a profit in the range of $300,000. So currently, what I'm going to do from here, so this is obviously, this home, I bought it. I don't intend on living here forever. It was more of something that I wanted to get for myself. I was always into real estate. I knew I wanted to own investment properties, own a house. I didn't like the idea of paying rent every month. I'd rather pay into something that I'm building equity in. So what I'm going to do from here is I currently owe around $350,000 in the house. I plan on selling it eventually. Say I can get $700,000 for it. So that's a kind of a profit of $350,000. That money I can then use to buy or build or whatever my next home I want to live in, and or the next investment property I want to buy. So basically, I'm generating passive income and building more equity in another place. So that's kind of the story of what I did and how I make owning a house work for me. I think that it is obviously a difference between number of years. Interest rates have gone up and stuff like that, but the opportunity is still there. Basically, I think most people can replicate this, finding areas with potential, so places that aren't overpriced, places that are growing, places that are people are moving to and stuff like that. A lot of people getting pushed further inland nowadays because you're getting priced out of the Yorks, the Gunkwit, the Wells. So there's these little towns like the Berwicks, the Rollinsfords, the Rochesters, the Sanfords, the Biddeffords that a lot of young people are moving into, and these towns are getting rejuvenated. The towns themselves really want to revitalize the downtown areas. More businesses are moving in. So finding places that have potential, that are growing, you can find places that are affordable, multi-units or single-family homes. So obviously a single-family home with an ADU, which is an apartment, you can generate income off your extra bedrooms. You can generate income off the apartments, stuff like that. Or a multi-unit, which you live in. Let's say you bought a duplex. You live in one unit and rent the other unit out and make money off of that. So, in terms of qualifying for these mortgages to buy these homes, if you have a parent that is willing to co-sign, it's great. But if you don't, there are programs out there that can help you, put down less of a down payment, use some of that income. If it's a multifamily or a single family with an apartment, you can use that income to offset kind of the cost of it and qualify for the mortgage a little bit quicker. So finding something with potential is exactly what you kind of want to do, and you can kind of replicate it. So let's say you purchase a home for $400,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, or let's say a 2-unit multi-unit. You bring around $20,000 in cash to closing. That's your down payment and covers some of your closing costs and your transfer taxes and things like that. And at a 6% interest rate nowadays, or a 7% interest rate, let's go with 7. That's a little bit more reasonable. Your mortgage, is going to come out to around $2,800 a month. Let's say you rent out 2 of the bedrooms at $800 each. You're going to bring in $1,600 a month. If you have an apartment, you'll bring in another $2,000 a month. So you're at $3,600 a month income on a $2,800 a month mortgage. Or if you're in a multi-unit, let's say you can rent out the other unit for $2,500. You're living in the other one alone, so you have a place to live. You're only paying really around $300 a month or less, depending on the number of units, depending on the cost of your rent, stuff like that. So all the numbers can be, do the math and figure out kind of what you're looking for, what you want to be in. And if you find, the right opportunity, there's opportunity out there everywhere to, find something like this. So, and it's usually kind of depends on location, depends on more bedrooms and the number of units and that kind of thing. But, in a lot of these places, year-round rentals are hard to come by, and they're usually in high demand, typically. So, and while you're doing this, you're thinking maybe you don't want to live in Berwick, or you don't want to live in Sanford forever, that type of thing. These places are just kind of starting to get your foot up onto the first step, take the first step towards buying a house where you want to be. So in your mid-20s, let's say you buy a place out in Berwick, and you live there for a number of years, 5-6 years, something like that. You're building equity into that home. So let's say you bought it for $400,000. 5 years down the road, it's now worth $600,000. There's $200,000 in equity that you can take, and go and purchase the next place you want to be at, or your final place you want to be at, or your next investment property, maybe somewhere on the coast, somewhere close to where you want to be, that type of thing. So while you're sitting there, instead of paying a rental number, say a typical rental, if you can find one year round, $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, you are, paying a mortgage, making money, and building equity. And when you leave with that equity, it's going to help you go to find your next place and buy that. So these are all this is an example kind of how you can possibly make purchasing a home in your mid to late 20s work for you. And not even just your mid to late 20s, anytime in your life. And I am going to be hosting a First Time Homebuyers Workshop this November at the Wiggly Bridge Distillery. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We're selling, tickets are free online. You get a free drink ticket when you do reserve your spot. We're going to have a panel of professionals in the area. Josh Dion from Blue Water Mortgage, the lender, is going to talk to you all about qualifying for a mortgage. Diane Hughes, the financial advisor, is going to talk about how you can prepare to purchase a house. And then Lauren Schaff of Red Door Title is talking about closings and your process of purchasing a house. And then me, who will be talking about how to find the places, what we do for you as realtors. So I hope to see you all out. That's the night of the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I'll drop a link below where you can reserve a ticket. If you want to hear more of me talk about this stuff and kind of how you can make this work for you, feel free to come on out. Thanks a lot.